quality control captivates your party patrol. Your mind, body, and soul flow. The bell tolls like the rhythm explode. Big, bad, and bold.
Hello and welcome to the practice problems video on the section on angles. Okay, so number 1 tells us to indicate each angle on this circle. Okay, so we have 6 different angles here in order to identify. Let me draw our quadrants there. Okay, let me draw a more horizontal line. There we go. Okay, so we have 30 degrees, 300 degrees, all of these things. So the first thing we should do is just, without even looking at these, is label what we know. Okay, just the main things, at least the quadrants, or the axes, okay? So when we're here, we're at either 0 or a full circle around, which is 360. We also have 90 degrees, gives us a quarter. 180 over here gives us half the circle. 270 is down there, okay? And in radians, we have, this is either 0 or pi. Okay, up here we have pi over 2. On the left-hand side, we have just a single pi. Down here, we have 3 pi over 2. And this is actually a 2 pi. Sorry about that. 2 pi there. Okay, 0 or 2 pi. So now we're ready to attack this problem. So the first angle they give us is 30 degrees. So we notice that, well, 30 degrees is a third of 90 degrees, so it should be about a third of this quarter, right? So we would draw our 30 degrees around here. Okay, so we got 30 degrees out of the way. How about 300 degrees? That's 30 degrees more than 270. So that means we're going to draw about a third past 270. So this is going to be our 300 degrees. Okay, got that out. Now we have negative 135. Well, wait, what does the negative mean again? That just means that we'll be traveling in the clockwise direction to begin with. Okay, so we're going to travel clockwise 135 degrees, and that happens to be, so let's actually just pretend this is positive right now. So if it's a positive 135 degrees, that would mean 135 minus 90 is 45 degrees, so that is 45 degrees greater than 90, okay? And 45 is actually half of a quarter, right? So 135, a positive 135 would be here, but we want the negative kind, so we want to rotate this way instead first. So we're going to end up actually halfway in between 180 and 270, okay? So this is our negative 135 degrees, alrighty? Now we have 70 degrees to look at. So 70 degrees is kind of just, well, it's just 7/9 of our quarter here. So it'll be a little past 60 degrees, so it'll probably be around here or so, okay? So there's our 70 degrees. We can kind of just estimate at this point. And now we're looking at, okay, we switched into radians, so now we have 2 pi over 3. So we know that pi over, let's see, what is, pi over 6 is actually equal to 30, right? Because our pi over 2 is there, so a third of that is pi over 6. So pi over 6 is here. If we say, well, 2 pi over 6 is 2/3 of this, so this is 2 pi over 6, which is equivalent to pi over 3, right? Then we can also convert this into saying, well, if we multiply by 2 on both top and bottom, we get 4 pi over 6. So we could technically just move it in intervals of pi over 6 and then just get to our 4 pi over 6, which is equivalent to 2 pi over 3. So we could say, okay, so this is pi over 6. If we move another third, that's 2 pi over 6. 90 degrees, or pi over 2, is 3 pi over 6. And if we go another pi over 6, this gives us 4 pi over 6. 4 pi over 6, which is equivalent to saying 2 pi over 3, okay? And now for the last one, we just have 7 pi over 4. So we know pi over 4 is half of pi over 2, right? So here's pi over 4, our normal one. And then let's say we count by pi over 4s. So this is 1 pi over 4, the one that I just drew. 2 pi over 4 is straight up and down. 3 pi over 4 over here. 4 pi over 4. 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, and finally 7 pi over 4 is right halfway in between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. Okay, so here's our 7 pi over 4. Alrighty?
We're going to take a trip back in time. Are you ready to get into your time machine? Okay, fasten your seatbelts. Are you ready?